Hey everybody, I'm Nico.
And I'm TK.
And that makes this X's for podcast, X's for show, your one-stop shop for all your favorite comics. But this week, it won't have some of your favorite comics. I realized I have the wrong headphones in. It won't have some of your favorite comics. And the reason for that is twofold. Number one, because not every great comic comes out every single week. And number two, because DC decided to not publish a bunch of books this week.
DC decided to not publish a bunch of books. Like, is a weird thing where, like, it's not just that the stuff that we were like, oh, we'll cover that, didn't come out this week. DC didn't publish, like, almost anything. They really wanted to give Arthur Curry his day in the sun.
Which is mind-blowing to me. Hold on, wait, ready, Magic. Which is mind-blowing to me because, I think about the fact that, like, for so many years, it's been this legend of the fact that, like, DC loses market share every single week to Marvel. And one of the things that makes me think is, well, because maybe you guys publish half as many fucking books.
Yeah, you really got to wonder. I mean, because again, like, the thing that I always refer back to that you taught me is the literal gold standard of comics. The standard to which sales are measured is Batman.
Which is why they're always publishing some Batmans.
That's why they're always publishing Batman. The one thing you can count on is the Batman book is selling to the point where it's not like, oh, when DC's up, it's all compared to Batman book, but when Marvel's up, it's all compared to Spider-Man. Spider-Man would be the Marvel equivalent, the book that unequivocally the flagship Spider-Man book is going to sell best at Marvel the way the flagship Batman book is going to sell best at Marvel. But no, still, it's Batman over Marvel. I don't know, at this point, I think DC might have the right idea with how little they publish and maybe being okay losing a week for what I don't know what the reason was that this week was not happening, but I would maybe take 1 week where I publish one mediocre number one for a flagship character than this week where Marvel gave us a ton of stuff that some of it's good, some of it's bad, that kind of almost doesn't even matter. The water's just very diluted. Aquaman has his thick viscous liquid all by his lonesome, and Marvel's liquid is much thinner. There's even a Namor book. Like I was looking at, we're number 6 for Namor, a book that has wowed no one. I think it's lovely. I think it's a perfectly fantastic book. It's fine. It's not fantastic. It's too big a word. It's a perfectly fine book, but it also got no time in the sun. It's nothing, it's no one, and it does feel like, by comparison, Aquaman this week is spotlit.
And it's really funny because, like, to go to that Namor book for 1 second, it's not that I didn't know it was coming out, it's that I don't care about it. Well,
we talked about it. We're on issue 6. When issue 1 came out, we talked about, were we going to do that week? We ultimately decided no, in part because the last time we did a Namor book was the alternate future one by what's his name. That was actually good, but it was Marvel edging us and never finished. Like, we were just like, we're not going to do another. They don't care about the character as much as we do. And then you and I sit there and devote serious time to being like, oh, they care about Namor. And then they never do anything again. And we kind of look like fools for being really into it and thinking it's a thing, which is exactly how I felt about this book. And it's exactly how it feels. Again, in comparison to Aquaman, feels like, oh, they care. Like, he got this week to himself.
Well, as a part, it's funny, he got this week to himself because nothing else shipped. But
I do wonder at a certain point if they were like, leave it, keep him, like, because they could have just not shipped that book this week. They could have saved it to go with everything else. But the fact that they kept it this week does feel a little bit like they were like, let him have the spotlight. I mean, like, if it was Batman Dark Pattern, it would probably do better for no reason, because it's probably not going to be a great book.
And it's so interesting that you're bringing that up, because I think one of the things that I noticed was the check out the new Guardians advertisement in the back of Aquaman. And so, like, it was promoting not New Guardians, New Gods.
New Gods,
Challengers. There's Challengers. Thank you. Because
it gave us the first 4 pages of Challengers #1, which we have already covered and read, right?
From like 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I saw it and I was like, this is that. This is not something else.
Right. So it makes me wonder if they like this was supposed to come out earlier, and it just didn't. And so they were like, you know what, this cannot get pushed back. And what is it? I know it's not called Last House on the Left, but whatever the fuck that book is, and they will know us by the last house on the 3rd Street on the 5th house on the Avenue.
Did I miss this? Was this also advertised?
It's the DC Vertigo book that they're using to relaunch Vertigo.
Oh, yeah. Which I have not really been. I've been literally putting on blinders to it because I don't know what it is and I don't trust it.
Well, evidently this is a really hot book, and we're in the minority on this. But this issue was supposed to come. Well, the first 3 issues came out, but this issue was supposed to come out in like November, and so it finally came out today. The new issue.
This is their 5. Vertigo relaunch?
Mm-hmm.
That's a mess.
Hey, no, it sounds like Vertigo to me. Being super late. So I do want to say, we read a lot of Jeremy Adams now, I guess.
Yeah.
He feels like a Jeff
hold on, just real quick. Are we doing DC are we doing Aquaman now?
Yeah, but you brought it up. You were so right.
Let's just. I'm just making sure. I just want to get in the mode.
He feels like a Jeff Johns that I don't want to throw things at.
Which I like because it speaks to the positive, which is you don't want to throw things at him. It speaks to the negative. He doesn't elicit any powerful reaction. It's better to stay on stage and for RuPaul to crack up at how god awful your look is and to make silly jokes and be like, I always go back to what's her name from UK4 where she's like, it's so rotten, it's almost good, but I still think they send her home that week. She's like a Naomi or a Tyra. I forget her name. Jonah. Get on here.
I want to say real quick, speaking of drag queen names, and it's not this is a drag queen name, but Deborah from HR is commenting on our Instagram.
Yes.
And says, you guys remember when Namor was a mutant? By the way, that was just Deborah from HR would be the greatest drag name of all time.
I mean, she would go along with Karen from Finance.
Exactly. Karen from Finance.
Yes, Namor is still a mutant. He just hates them, which was a really funny sticking point when Krakoa started. And then Marvel forgot the character existed, even though they recreated a sexy Latin version of him in the MCU that literally could have been an entire line unto itself. And now he's just a character that needs both a buff and a nerf in Rivals. What? Is this a no?
I need him to be bisexual so that I can do a by Namor.
I like it.
And I'd have a good time with it.
I do like it.
Well, I love the way you say his name, Namor, like it's Roman Neymar, and I really love how you lean into that. See, this
well,
week it's
seen Namor. It's without love. I like it. I thought that honestly, that's a top 5 MCU adaptive moment because Namor's just Namor, and that's he's a Western European Atlantean, which is not plausible for what Atlantis would have been if we believe it, but whatever, setting that aside, to figure out a way to make the name Namor and to have it work for South American, Central American, Latin American offshore water kingdom is pretty brilliant.
And one of the reasons that it worked so well for me, that sort of elevated the discussion with Namor, that I got from this Aquaman, I guess, is when you reimagine something, it's got to be powerful. As Deborah from HR adds, I think because Namor was in Black Panther, since no one in the MCU wants to make mutants happen, he disappeared from all the X books. We get into this modality of new versus conceptual versus solid. And like for me, Jason Momoa's Aquaman is not Aquaman the same way. That Amell, that one, Stephen Amell's Arrow isn't really Arrow. It's Green Batman.
Yeah.
And that's why
it's what we have the rights to for CW.
Yeah, and so that's why it's got Ra's al Ghul, and that's why it's got, you know, this stuff that really isn't so, but that doesn't make it bad. That doesn't inauthenticate it. That doesn't make it not work for me.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, it just meant that I didn't fucking care about Aquaman exactly. And I constantly used to call him Arthur Treacher, and like I still didn't care. But this, you know what? This gave him a cheesecakey sort of, maybe he's a pro Bender look, and I really dug that.
It's weird because everything about the treatment and production for Aquaman works, including, listen, trial aside, Amber Heard, fantastic casting. Nicole Kidman, fantastic casting. Everybody works except Jason Momoa, who is coming back to DC to play Lobo, who is who he was meant to play. I don't think it's gonna. I see that eye roll, and I agree with you. I don't think it's gonna work. I hate
Lobo so much.
Yeah, no, I hate Lobo too. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think they're in the right mindset to do it. And watching Creature Commandos, which I love, but again, I don't think anybody's in the right mindset. I think pointing to James Gunn and saying that's our Kevin Feige, and then letting him behave like that is the wrong move. You can have James Gunn be the leader, but you don't say he's our Kevin Feige. You say we're doing things totally differently, and James Gunn is leading.
Yeah, he's our James Gunn.
Yeah, he's our James Gunn, and we're doing things the James Gunn way. But they're just begging for you to trust them that they can Marvel too, and nobody can. Marvel's a singular entity. Disney's a singular entity. DC is a singular entity. Marvel never goes, we can DC. They compete with DC, and I think they often lose that competition, but they're never trying to convince you they're DCing. In comics and television and films, none of it. I think Jason Momoa is the absolute correct casting for Lobo. Lobo is not their Wolverine.
Batman is their Wolverine.
Right, exactly. They really want him to be, and he's not. And yes, Batman is their Wolverine, but Robin Pattinson isn't their Hugh Jackman either. So they're in a mess of a situation, and that's
because Batman is their Wolverine and Nightwing is their Cyclops, but then contrastedly, Superman is their Captain America, and Wonder Woman is really, I guess she's really their, I don't even know. They're Thor.
It's funny. She's their Thor. She's their Thor. She's also their Scarlett Johansson. Their Black Widow.
Okay.
But their Black Widow, they have a better shot with her than Marvel has with Black Widow, and yet they fucked it up. And Marvel has managed to go the distance with Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow all the way up to her movie that they botched only because it was a tough situation with COVID and they really made every wrong move they could have. But that movie remains fantastic. To me, that's a top 10 Marvel movie.
And it gave us the best episode of What If.
And Yolanda Bologna. I mean, just so much good stuff.
Kate's girlfriend.
Kate's girlfriend, Yolanda. Yeah. Deborah from HR says Lobo is DC's Deadpool, and I agree with that. And Jason Momoa could be a close enough analog to Ryan Reynolds to get us through a funny, irreverent DC action movie that has high production value, that does a lot of the mechanical stuff that Deadpool did, but isn't trying to see we can do what Marvel does. It's just never what DC goes for. And that's all a long way around of going, Aquaman was perfect except for Jason Momoa. And then I look at this book and I see everything, like I see all the iconography of Aquaman, the comic that then inspired the movie that now the comic is referring back to. So clean, so gorgeous, except for you have this dude who is correct. And it's not, I really want to be so clear, it's not because he's white. Because again, I said like Namor is the better version of Namor. Arthur Curry does not need to be a blonde white guy. It's just Jason Momoa was wrong. And the only proof I have for that is that I would like to see him as Lobo. I have no interest in seeing him as Aquaman. I don't even know who I would cast as Aquaman, but when I look at this comic, everything feels correct.
Yeah, I don't know that. I was like, oh, Alan Richson. Wait.
Yes, except for he's Hawk.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait.
I love him so much. He's so good, but I am an unapologetic Titans stan. I think that show is the best terrible, the terriblest best.
Listen, I've spent
He's
at
Hawk
least
forever.
3 hours a day on Arkham Asylum, and I never want to leave. I get it.
Minka Kelly, Dove, also fantastic.
Minka Kelly as Dove, and you want me to watch? I'm kidding. So for my birthday, we saw
Alan
The
is
Roommate.
Bay, Deborah from HR. He's the most handsome, gorgeous, enormous man. I love him so much. He's so funny. He's really good as Hawk. The Titans is good. You need to watch it. You really would appreciate. I mean, it's a little interminable for the first 2 seasons, but once Dick actually becomes Nightwing, it's perfect.
Well,
Dick is not Nightwing when the show starts. Dick is Robin, and other people become Robin, and it all happens very quickly. All of a sudden, the entire DC's history of everything happens real fast
on screen, just for you.
Yeah, yes, 100%. That is how it happens. But anyway, Alan Richardson, really great example of somebody who I would think you could cast as Aquaman, but he can't because he's Hawk. I'm trying to think of somebody who's like not white who could do it, who I would be like, I'm trying to think of like a Greek person. Like, give me a Mycenaean, give me somebody who is from one of the islands that is Nico action as Arthur Curry. I see it.
I have all of the required swimming skills to get up to a first class.
Listen, I'm not even sure I believe that. I've never seen you swim.
Well, so fascinating. When have you ever been in water with me?
I've been by bodies of water with you.
So you've never shoved me in the ocean and hoped for the best. I understand.
We were on that Asbury boardwalk, and I did think about it.
I don't blame you.
I mean, it's far. Like I would have to trick you to walking towards it, but.
Oh no, I 1,000%. I completely understand. It's one of those fail videos where you just fall in the water and everybody laughs.
Well, I feel like it's more like you fall on the boardwalk and then I roll to you.
Oh yeah, because I've become caked in sand.
Like it's from there. It's 100 feet at least. So I'm really like, I got to get you all the way in there. But then, yeah, do I believe you could be Aquaman? Sure.
But let me ask you a question now.
Yes.
Did you realize Aquaman didn't have aquakinesis before this?
All right, so now we got to talk about what actually happens in this book. So for one thing, now we're a year in the future,
but then we're back. Then we're back to now.
So now is a year ago to the Aquaman book specifically. Yes.
Yes. Now
that is 100% what happened.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You're there.
And then on top of, so already I'm confused by the timing of this book. So this is like, we're doing a very ultimates. This book has to last a year because in 12 months it has to say, okay, now it's now, and the year ago that was when the #1 started is the time that happened that we went through. So that's thing one. And then thing two, he's like, I switched powers with my wife, who is also just another wet person. So I don't have my powers, but I have her powers. I really I knew that Aquaman talks to fish and that's funny.
We don't say that word anymore.
Funny fish talks.
You should not describe Aquaman as fishy.
Oh no, yeah, no, that's no. They don't smell like that. Yeah, no, I would not have. If you asked me what Aquaman's powers were, I would not have said aquakinesis, but if you told me he didn't have them, I would have thought that was absurd.
Yeah, and that's even part of where I find myself really thinking about why we're doing a reset on somebody like Aquaman. Why a body like Aquaman needs to go back to, this is where I started, this is who I am. And I immediately go to the idea of the proliferation of an idea. Like this notion that we take a character and we split it out across the multiverse. You have your Jason Momoa Aquaman. You have your classic Aquaman for a while in the 90s. He was somewhere between them, actually. He had like long, icky hair that was like specifically icky long hair, not like all long hair is icky. And we've seen so many iterations of him. Sometimes you kind of have to pull us back to one. And one of the things I've been thinking about is the fact that Batman has for so long published classic stories that you never knew from the past because you grew up with Batman stories existing in the public eye. Everyone knew the Joker, but not everybody knew that Spider-Man's villain was the Green Goblin. And so Marvel spent many years of our childhood building out the idea that Superman is your daddy's comics, Spider-Man is happening now. So they always want to avoid throwing a story into the past casually the way DC does, with like Batman stories just taking place somewhere before he met Robin out of nowhere in the middle of Detective Comics, and that's just got to be fine. So I think when you're talking about a character like Aquaman who lacks that treatment at a company who's known for that treatment, you sometimes see this need to reinvent the character, a la the Jeff Johns notion of rebirth. And I sometimes think it just rings a little unnecessary. Here it brought me to the title. And I give the issue a solid B, but I don't think it's one that I'm dying for issue 2 before the trade.
Yep, nailed everything. Definitely B, definitely not also carry. And again, it's the Jeremy Adams thing. It's I don't want to throw stuff at him, but it's because I'm not passionate about it. It's not. I also don't want to cheer for him. When and why does he have the hook hand?
Because it's a bait and switch.
Because fish. It's a bait and tackle, you pervert.
Hot. Is he gonna? I'm telling you, this Aquaman works for me.
I mean, he is insanely hot. But again, like it's a little disappointing. It's so weird. I'm like, no, Jason Momoa. But I do like that Jason Momoa is not white, and this Aquaman just feels very white. And again, it's weird because we have Namor, Imperious Rex from Atlantis, the like borderline Nazi ideal of European white like island aquatic homeland, and then Marvel really seamlessly transitions that over to the entire rest of the ocean, picking off of the coast of Mexico, like and a Central American, Aztec, Mayan, adjacent view of the character. That again, it's so weird that has stuck with people because Namor is nothing. Namor is nobody, and like this is from somebody who kind of loves Namor because again, one,
you're like a dream come true.
Well,
two.
Yeah, no, I actually have a whole other thing for that, so we're gonna save that for later. But I have a whole other Brian McKnight thing that we'll discuss another time. No, I just really like the idea.
You mean anytime?
Do I ever cross your mind? I like the idea of Sue Storm cheating on her husband, the most garbage person ever. And this is where I'm not going to talk about the fact that all of you, when I was like, no, Reed Richards is not going to be a support, you all told me I was crazy. Lo and behold, Sue's the support, which is exactly what I said was going to happen ill-advisedly. And you all said you had seen footage of him, that he was the support. Nope, wrong. Garbage dad remains garbage. He's just another garbage damaged character like Reed Richards would be. Doesn't matter how hot he looks with a beard in the rival style, he still sucks. That's why I love Namor, because he's constantly trying to get Sue to cheat. But that's the only thing I care about that character for. That and the fact that during the Decimation years, it was fun that he was around and added to the mix. And then it was a very, like, this was such a, oh, you guys didn't yes and yourselves. The first issue of House and Powers, they're like, oh, Namor, come hang. And he goes, just fuck you, no. And then we're still at the point that we don't bring Namor in because the only lane that they ever had for him in the last 6 years they closed. Marvel themselves closed. They fully had this character say "fuck you" to the X-Men, which was funny to me, except for they never found a way to bring him back. And the only time he has had a cool place in Marvel is in the MCU when we got a not white Namor.
Well, when he was unfortunately kind of sandwiched into a 45-hour-long movie. I swear to God, that was like the time I tried to do Ken Burns' Civil War in a day. Wakanda Forever is
it should have been a show.
So long.
It should have been a show. It should have been their first show into film. It should have been their first companion piece where the film is complete, but the show adds supplementary everything.
I want to add, Deborah, yes, I do, as much as I actually am the Reed apologist on the show, he is a bad dad. Thought that I follow on social media was like, all you dumb gays that are not immediately going to admit that the reason you're obsessed with Mr. Reed, how big do you want it, Richards, ... And I'm like, I actually think that is part of why Kevo's point is so accurate. Reed is ridiculously yoked in this Rivals model, and I agree that back on him is like, it is certainly trentastic and quite impressed. But part of why I think that works is because one of the settings of this Rivals season is like the darkness is coming, and somebody like Reed knows how to react, knows how to adapt. That's something I think that he and Namor do have in common, and it is something I really liked about this Aquaman issue. But to bring us kind of over to Marvel, I agree with you. You did call that Reed and Sue were swapped, and they were. Big time backward internet fan base. And I think like I sat there through that trailer all a minute and 21 seconds, and I was like, oh, we're doing Null. Oh, wow. Why are the Fantastic Four fighting Null? Oh my God, I love it. Oh my God, no, hold on. Think about it. The ultimate nullifier, Null, the Fantastic Four versus Null. The idea that thought, the limitlessness of thought, Reed Richards and the limitlessness of thought, and thought is a light bulb. And
they went to the cosmos. They went to space, and then they got to space, and then there is...
And then what if they found the symbiote first?
Right.
Exactly.
And then...
And so I'm like, Null. Fantastic Four versus Null is the coolest idea I've ever heard for either set of them. And then it's Dracula.
It's Dracula. It's weak sauce.
It's Dracula.
It's Dracula. It's weak sauce. What did we just do? Blood Hunt. What was it? Was it called Blood Hunt? Mm-hmm. Was that what the whole thing was called? The whole event was called? Yeah. So we're just doing Blood Hunt. We're doing also Sexy Dracula, which Marvel in the 70s said, we're going to give you Dark Shadows Dracula. We're going to give you old Barnabas ass Collins, and like, you have to accept that they find this man sexy in like this Bela Lugosi kind of way, which so like creamy. Yeah, sure, I'm into it too. But yes, I'm also a Dark Shadows boy.
A No Doubt album about how sexy Barnabas is would have been the greatest thing that ever happened to California.
I could not agree more. That would have been the perfect pre-Return of Saturn, post-Tragic Kingdom. There's an album there they didn't do.
Yes.
There literally is an album there they didn't do, but
there's also another one.
Yes, yeah.
I cannot imagine the number, because like Sarah McLachlan one time said that like when people look at her and they're like, are there lost songs? And she's like, no, it's fucking hard for me to write a song. I write a song once a month, once every other month. If that, I'll go 9 months without writing a song. Doesn't faze me. That's not the kind of songwriter I am. I never had a deep B-side catalog for that reason. Yeah. But I love covers in the tradition of singer-songwriters, and like I get those moments other ways. So I don't ever wonder like what is the lost Sarah McLachlan album, but obviously I lose sleep over how many Tori Amos One Night Cocaine Bender records have been lost in time.
I mean, we know that that's an insane catalog, and I also No Doubt is another good example because it was 5 songwriters if you count Eric, who had
the most important songwriter.
Exactly, who had a full catalog before he left to go write for The Simpsons. There's also the fact that
disguise themselves as tiny little dwarves.
Fully, they were a ska band writing ska music before that ended and Bradley Knowles died. Anyway, there's a lot going on.
And now Bradley's son and No Doubt do concerts together, and we're old men.
And fucking, he has his own dog that comes out on stage. I can't handle it.
Have I ever told you that old man's first dog was named Lou Dog?
No, that's very cute. Have I ever told you that I saw Sublime live before Bradley passed?
Which is one of those things where I'm convinced that you were either the coolest young person ever or the old man version of you has a time machine and is putting you to be the coolest
I actually
kid
don't
ever.
know which it is either,
It's
because I fully am like,
amazing!
why did I know that I had to? This was at a ski resort. I do not ski. I fully was like, I'm not. This was at a point where I was like, skiing is for idiots. I'm not doing it anymore. I live in a ski area, but I was like, this is 1996. I'm 11 years old. And for some reason, I was like, no, I have to get up to the mountain. I don't know. I do actually think I'm an old man with a time machine.
Wait, are you saying if it weren't for ski lifts, you'd never get lanes?
I hate that, but yes. TK stands for Time Kid. Yes, Kevo, that is 100% correct. Thank you. Where were we?
My fly leaf cover is I'm So Sick. To Andrew's point.
Arthur Curry. Okay, also, the thing I like about Namor, we never call Namor, his name is like Stephen Jones or something. What's his?
Yeah, no, what is his white oppression name? Hold on. It's like Mackenzie
It's really
Phillips.
Stupid.
It's like seriously like Mackenzie Phillips. Oh, it's Namor Mackenzie.
Yes. Yeah. Which for one thing, so I do respect that
Mackenzie Phillips is a monster. Okay.
Yes. Wilson Mackenzie Phillips McLaughlin.
Save the dokes.
It drives me insane when they call him Arthur Curry and then he has to go down to his undersea kingdom. Arthur Curry is not the name of a man who has an undersea kingdom. He also doesn't have a fun catchphrase.
No, yeah, Arthur Curry is the name of the man who manages Lady Footlocker on the weekend.
100%, and in a pervert way. And so that's always a problem that bothers me. There's also a baby in the mix. Get it out of there. Yeet that baby into the stratosphere.
Get out of here, baby.
Get out of here, baby. And also, I would have killed what's her name only because that is Amber Heard, who was a good casting choice and is a good actor, but it's too late. We're
so wait,
done.
are you saying that she should be Amber Seen, not Heard?
At this point. This would have been for me. This is the bigger problem with this book. This is when I would have said, like, not many people get to Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy. You make a change and it never changes. And the source material person, or rather the real life person that is playing the character, has become toxic. And now we can no longer do this, is one of those excuses that the public subconsciously buys. Her name's Mira. The character's name is Mira?
Mara, yeah.
Mara, yeah. If she never appeared again, everybody would know why and would accept it. No questions asked. And whenever she shows up, and also, like, great example too, because nobody cares about her. Nobody cares about Aquaman. Nobody cares about Mira, certainly. Like, this is Batman's show. This is Batman's fish friend. Nobody cares about Batman's fish friend's wife. This just doesn't happen. I'm sorry.
I ate at a Gordon Ramsay's fish and chips in Las Vegas, and I feel like I have just as much claim to the sea as she does.
I went to a Red Lobster one time, and I fully feel the same way.
I have a better recipe for cheddar biscuits than the pre-boxed one.
I mean, they're not that great.
Well, that is fair. Earlier, Andrew typed "cause Hook is daddy," and I kept misreading it as "house cook is daddy," and I was like, "Yeah, that describes TK."
No, we're not going to. You guys already did a Hook thing. I'm not letting it back on. I think he is not cute.
Oh my god, he is the single sexiest character to nearly ever
I
be on ABC.
For one thing, if we're even talking about that show, Robin Hood is hotter. But two,
I just want to be Rumble. Daddy.
I have an argument to make for Rogers, though, who is a separate person from Hook, but that's a whole other discussion.
No, I agree with that. I specifically think Hook is gross and stupid and has too much eye makeup on, and it's a joke.
But Emma is mommy, so I don't care. If she loves him, it doesn't matter. That's sort of what I feel about Hook.
Emma is smallest.
she already has an OTP and he's fucking dead. And it's,
he's dead. So he died.
What's his name from True Blood, who did a great
who did the Cajun accent?
Who did the amazing Creole
Neil.
accent.
And now there's baby Neil.
The kid's dad.
Where's Neil when you need him?
Stop it. No, we're done with that. We can't say that anymore.
Oh my God. A fucking fan on Unformed put, I think she should just replace every Neil reference with Tosh. So where's Tosh when you need her?
That's cute.
If you need
I would love that.
Me and Tosh will be hanging out with the Dream King.
Yeah.
Like
I would also accept she keeps using Neil, but it's Neil Armstrong or Neil the dad from Anyway, I got plans.
Neil Flynn from Scrubs.
I love him.
Yeah.
I have a cousin named Neil. Wait, do I?
No.
Yes, yeah, I do. No, I have a cousin named Neil. Yeah. Oh, also no. Okay, no, we're not going to do that.
Shara? Thunderbird?
No, we're done with him. Wait,
sound off in the comments with your favorite Neils.
Yeah, let's get some Neils.
This is so fucking dumb. I want to say, I'm gonna jump us to a new book.
Magik?
No, I'm gonna get this one out of the way. Steve Fox. I've met you twice, and every time I've met you, you have been the nicest man to me. I love a lot of your work. Yeah. New Champions rings so hollow, so false, so honest to God, kind of ugly. There was a producedness to this that felt like editorial changed every line of dialogue. I did not enjoy this book, unfortunately.
Let's start with, every once in a while, some production company, some film company will get the rights to something, and they're like, oh yeah, this was a decal on a car that you could buy in 1991 that we turned into a character that you're now supposed to watch a show for. This is like, this is the fucking Haktua girl. Like, she had a fucking Instagram Reels clip where she says that you should spit on a dick, which, if you're a gay man, is so unimpressive. I'm sorry. If you're a straight person watching this show, I get that that's the kinkiest thing you've ever heard, but spitting on a dick is literally a Thursday morning for me. That was not impressive. This woman has a whole career down to getting her own Bitcoin out of it. Out of literally a clip where she says that a thing that you should do is spit on a guy's dick. And that's what this book felt like to me.
Every single gay person you know has a spit signature. And when you find an autopsyable dick in the wild, you can be like, spit signature, check who is the last mouth to be with this dick. And you go to the gay database,
Google her
or Scruff, whichever you need. And you woof the person and they woof you back, and they're like, I'm one of those 3 profiles on Blue Sky that are either the twink in the bathroom, the Photoshop dick, or the giant.
No, it's not Photoshopped. It's a dildo. It's got it there. It's just not his dick.
Okay, that's. I never mean to cast aspersions because No,
I want to make sure, like, it's not. There's no AI involved. That's a real picture. It's just not his actual dick. It's just.
If I Photoshop something, it doesn't make it AI. It just makes it done by AI. I did not.
This is the Stormbreakers were asked to do concept art. They were asked to do cover art, and each to make a sidekick. Love that fucking idea. But immediately, as soon as I heard they were doing it, I knew it was going to be a problem. I knew we were going to do exactly this. And it took us. The thing is, if they had asked them to do this and do the covers and then immediately do the book, at least you would have given me energy. The covers were over a year ago. I know we talked about them because the thing is, there is one that I love. Which do you know which one I love?
Is it Cadet Marvel?
No, come on.
Oh, I love Cadet Marvel.
Oh, sure. But conceptually,
we talked about Fantasia.
I have any mode of conveyance, particularly wheeled, but I even have a ski-doo. Any mode of conveyance, I have a Ghost Rider for.
I mean, from this episode, I have Bradley Knowles as the Ghost Rider on skis. So
thank you. Yes, exactly. There absolutely needs to be a skiing Ghost Rider. But I have a mode of conveyance. I have a Ghost Rider for every mode of conveyance. I love Phantasma. I love that character design. At the time, when we saw the Stormbreakers thing, I said like this could be Kushala's. She could get this person as an apprentice. Because when these covers came out, they really were just covers. There was no promise that this would be anything. The one that we're not getting here that has never been discussed again, that you and I talked about at length, is they gave us a Wolverine sidekick that was a new champion that looked mostly like Logan when he got de-evolved after Magneto ripped out his adamantium skeleton. It looked like a young version of that. But the second closest thing was our girl Wild Thing.
Hey, Rena.
And we talked a lot about how like that could be a person. We were also doing a lot of Ghost Rider talks, so we were talking about how Phantasma could be a person. We talked a lot about like, oh, this is cute. These characters, like, we can conceptualize cool ideas, but don't need to, because this is never going to happen. This was just giving the Stormbreakers, the young artists of the time that Marvel features, a chance to do one piece of original character art. At the same time, everybody knew as soon as it's out there, that means they own it. It's IP. You can do something with it. And so we get this book. God love you, Steve Fox. Nobody turned down work. Listen, at some point, if you are commissioned to write something, you are probably going to write a piece of shit that gets you paid, that puts food on your table, and that then you're responsible for guys like us being like, this sucks and you wrote it. And nobody talks about the fact that a company told you, hey, we're paying you for this job, go do the job.
An editor that I love as a human being one time read my book and said, it just doesn't read like an adult comic book. And like, that's a person I love that was like trying to help.
I mean, that's the reverse of things. That's they're telling you we're not commissioning, like we're not taking it, we're not paying you.
And so I'm here for, Steve Fox getting this work, and I don't shit on his ability. This just did not feel like a whole idea.
No, and again, like that takes us to like, this was
Daredevil White. It was a gig for them, I agree.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a gig for the artists who created these characters, and it was a gig for the writer then to write this book and for the artist to portray it. That's all great, but we can't act like this is good. I just can't support any part of it. I don't really even know what to say about this. This was... Hellrune, no interest. I have no interest in any of these characters. Phantasma, I kind of do, except for not in this context.
It's not like I don't think Steve Fox can write a ton of great books that we gave a lot of great praise to, and I actually thought the art was pretty great on this book.
Similarly, we know Erica Schultz can write a great book.
Yeah.
But she's also, this is the same thing. And I was talking to my partner about this. Like, at this point, they're paying her. Marvel's commissioning these books. And this one at the very end, Erica Schultz's Daredevil Unleash Hell got a little different. And we're going to talk about that and we'll get there. But God love her, Marvel has been commissioning her to write the same book since she started writing Daredevil, Elektra Daredevil.
I agree. I just want to say, Davin, I agree that that Champion series with Riri and
Vision and Cyclops and Miles Morales and who is the Nova? We talked about this the other day because I get confused.
Sam Ryder.
Who is Richard's son.
Yeah.
But you like somebody else?
No, I mean, I like Frankie Ray, but that's like so obscure. It's like it's a Fantastic Four character from the 80s.
Okay.
So
we talked about something the other day.
For Nova?
Yeah.
I believe you.
Okay. But yeah, that Champion series was fantastic, and Oh, also, you know who was on there who is such an underused character that this is why I'm like, don't create 8 new characters and then use them.
Oh, my future
our son,
husband when he grows up.
Braun.
Yeah, Amadeus Cho.
Yes.
My future husband when he's an adult man.
Yeah,
and ready for
that's
a
why I'd say
committed
he's our son.
Beautiful and perfect.
That is, I'm done with Bruce Banner. Like, Bruce Banner to me is Danny Rand. You at a certain point, it's take the guy and retire him from the thing because the guy is cool. Danny Rand should mentor Lin Lie, and Bruce Banner should be Mark Ruffalo showing up and laughing about what science is with everybody. But Amadeus Cho is Hulk. Lin Lie is Iron Fist.
And that is like, Lin Lie being Iron Fist is one of those things that like is so important to the evolution of the character. I think because, when we're talking about
that one, that we can't have Danny Rand. Like that's a
yeah.
Danny Rand, white Danny Rand can't be Iron Fist anymore. Like we're done with that. So we set that aside completely.
Exactly. I think about the Jason Aaron, I just see Davin saying that Bruce Banner is such an impotent male rage character. And like, that's the whole point of the Aaron run, which is like this, like, masturbatory attack in some ways on like, I'm such a violent, evil, mean Hulk. And it's Aaron's Punisher run, but for Hulk. Like exactly,
Aaron is so good at taking the essence of a character and being like, you guys shouldn't like this essence. This is so terrible. I'm going to show you how terrible this guy is, which is a great thing to see. But then Marvel never is like, okay, you just gave us this book. Now it's time for how we evolve.
So I just want to give Steve Fox as a creator, a queer creator, and somebody out there doing the best they can, whose work on the Era of Apocalypse is leading to the Age of Revelation in 2025. Congratulations.
Loved Revelation. I didn't always love that book, but I thought Revelation was a really cool idea, and I thought you picked the right guy to be the Era of Apocalypse. Which again, like that book, Marvel obviously commissioned that book. I don't think anybody sits there and goes, I'm desperate to do Era of Apocalypse. I think they go, hey, we need one more Apocalypse book. What do you got? And so to have a great idea for who would be the Era of Apocalypse, to me, that makes you a great creative. And if you can write the book, fantastic. It was not the book for me, but I loved that concept. Loved the idea of Doug becoming Revelation. Love that you picked that. Wait, you froze. Oh my God, you're stuck whispering to me and you're frozen. Hold on. I'm going to keep talking.
No, okay. I'm here.
Yeah, I know. You're unfrozen now, so re-whisper.
But how much did like it even ending with Magnetrix feel like the end of an MC2 issue?
Oh my God, so much of this
Christ
in a way that I'm like, it's not good. It's not I mean, like,
it's the wrong parts.
It's the wrong parts. Exactly. Like I feel so bad because I want to root. And like Steve Fox did Dead X-Men, which again, that's another fantastic example of like terrible time, so wrong. But that team, like I sat there and wept when Hellfire Gala 3 came out because I was offended that Marvel killed that team. Because to me, that's the X-Men. Finally getting a really diverse group of X-Men, that's the X-Men. And then immediately they kill them. So to have that team get to come back and do some work, fuck yes. Like, I really do. There's so much about Steve Fox that I think is fantastic. He also wrote Time Slide this year, which another example of like Marvel thinks that this time thing that they do on New Year's every year is supposed to be good. You tricked me once. You only get one. I'm sorry, you only get one. I said to you, yes, I'm so into this. I'm so into Marvel Doomsday Clock, Miracle Man. Doom shows up and harasses this poor dude who's just like a scholar. And he's like, I don't know, there's like a weird M in space or something. And then, so I'm like, yeah, sold. We're doing Miracle Man. Like, Nico and I sat there and like conceptualized of 25 different ways that Miracle Man's coming in. And then it was just like, no, we're doing another Timeless the next year. And now it's a whole other thing where it's Power Man, and sure, whatever. But like, you already lost me. You lost me because I bought into Miracle Man. So you can't really, we talked about this last week, you can't really then give me a third one where it's Cable and Bishop and a person who Nico and I knew was Ava Bell. But Screen Rant was like, oh, look, Agatha is hanging out with Bishop and Cable. And I mentioned Screen Rant because what did we talk about earlier today?
Their out of control AI told them that if the ultimate nullifier in the ultimate universe was used, maybe in that universe it's just the nullifier. If the ultimate nullifier was used in the ultimate universe on Mephisto, then there can never be a Ghost Rider in the ultimate universe.
And the article says Ghost Rider only exists because of Mephisto, which so fucking comical because that basically means you've never and it's Ghost Rider only exists because of Mephisto, and then the guy goes, it's Steve Connolly, I'm gonna call him out by name because he put his name on this article. I'm so disappointed because I love Ghost Rider even as a ever since I was a kid, and Ghost Rider only can exist because if Mephisto exists, and therefore since they killed Mephisto there can't ever be a Ghost Rider. The most insane extrapolation of ideas I have heard from a speculative article off of a thing I maybe want to say in decades. First off, Google any other person who is a Ghost Rider and they are that thing because of something other than Mephisto. Ghost Rider 2099 alone is simply just a dude with AI. There's just a dude with computers, and we never got to why because it was 2099 and this was in 1998. So like there was no follow through with concepts, but that's not a Mephisto thing. That's just a guy with computers involved. Everybody else, like Jason Aaron's whole run, it's like actually weapons from heaven, so it doesn't matter if Mephisto is dead because anyway, there absolutely can still be Ultimate Ghost Rider. And if you read that and work at Marvel, you better be publishing Ultimate Ghost Rider like tomorrow just to say fuck you for producing that article, which is absolute horseshit. I don't even know how we got here. Steve Fox, I love you. I was looking at your catalog. You've really written so much stuff that I think is good.
So good.
Also, as a Steve, you're doing the very Steve at Marvel thing where you're writing stuff and then you put your stuff in the other stuff that they give you. So don't worry. We all saw the 25 references to Spider-Woman being the place that all this stuff comes together.
And I respect Steve stuff.
Yeah, I respect you so much following the footsteps of other Steve, Orlando,
or Englehart, or like the grand tradition of Marvel Steve
at Marvel, just being like, here's the thing I got. I put this thing in here. Now you get an editor's note. This is the other thing you have to read. I get it. I respect it.
Makes me wish my name were Steve, and my name's Nico, which is like the coolest name.
Steveco.
Steve. We used to have two Steves at once.
I could be Tico. Listen, I root for you, Steve. But
I made Kevo win with that one.
This is a decal on a car. This is the Hawk Tua girl. I cracked up. I thought it was funny that straight people. What?
The gong is ringing. The Mystic Marvel gong.
Are we doing it?
The gong of Mystic Marvelonia. It is time. The Hans Zimmer score has already begun. It is time.
I definitely respect when straight women are willing to spit on a dick, but I don't know that it's enough to do a whole comic about.
No, it's not. And while you get that thing going, I'm gonna vamp. So help me.
This should be pretty quick.
Don't
talk like it's
I don't know that I've based more of my personal self on any, and I've really been trying to do like a lot of reflecting. I obviously I'm influenced by a lot of stuff, but I'm probably the most influenced by Daredevil and Elektra of anything in my life. Because like in a lot of ways, this deep badassance I'm having is like a channeling of the deeper sense of Daredevil that I'm always looking for.
I was going to say, I don't know that we would be here if we hadn't done so much Daredevil since since Devil's Reign.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like I'm like a better person for it as like a fan of media, because there are so many beautiful, brilliant minds that have touched Daredevil over the years.
To be clear, you're still a terrible person.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I'm an absolute. My mom is like I know it's like Emma Bunton-ish to be like, my mom's my best friend. But like my mom literally has little figurines of dumpster fires to put in front of her desk.
Your mom is the shit. Like,
yeah, exactly.
100% clear. Your mom is a riot. And sometimes your mom is at your best when you personally are like, oh God, my fucking mom. That is sometimes when she is at her absolute funniest.
Exactly.
I am like, this woman is fucking awesome. And you're like, just ignore her. And I'm like, no, she's fucking hilarious. The best example of that is when she was talking to somebody at Disney about Billie Eilish, and you were just we were having dinner and you were just like, stop. But I was like, no, this is the funniest fucking story I've ever heard. And you were not into it at all, but I thought it was so good.
It is. So
she's so great.
Gosh, yeah, that is the best fall from the topic we've ever had. I'm sure I had a reason to bring this up. I forget what I was saying.
We're talking about Daredevil. We're talking about Elektra. We were moving to get into Daredevil. Unleash Hell.
I had a specific thing that I was talking to her about that I was going to use as the segue, but my brain is silly. And anyway, I just love that we got to talk about how great my mom is for a minute instead. But Sweet. One of the things. Are we
diving into Daredevil as we do this, or is that where we're going with this?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah. I'm probably most influenced by this character, and I'm always looking for deeper meaning in a lot of what we do with characters who have super mystical sigil stuff. And I promise, if I remember the conversation I was going to bring up with my mom, I will get there. But instead, I'm just going to move over to Daredevil. One of the things that I thought was really significant about the cyclical nature of what Erica Schultz has been asked to do in the last year or so is she's been asked to restart this story from one, sort of over and over in a way that challenges the idea of what Marvel does with their flagships. When we think about Captain America restarting, it's the rare Captain America book that lasts 6 issues. That's for runs that are like Steve Rogers Super Soldier. I think there's one volume of Sam Wilson Captain America that's only 6 issues as a result of renumbering, line wide. And so in the 90s, it wasn't unusual for Elektra to have a 4-issue mini and then disappear for 6 months, 4-issue mini and then disappear for a year, 2 4-issue minis at once, and then no books for 2 years. She was a bit of an unusual character, and she would go on to have that significant ongoing throughout the 90s, which would have Pete Milligan at the helm at one point, and then, of course, the Greg Horn cover Bendis relaunch in the early 2000s. And she is a character for whom symbology is a great like a part of who she is, and I very much I've come to realize how much of this character has influenced me, and how much I look to Elektra for standards of comic book storytelling, and a place where I have found myself particularly frustrated is by forcing Erica Schultz to constantly restart her narrative. They're inhibiting the ability for her to grow her story to a deeper place. I'm frustrated because every page of her work is exquisite, is spectacular. I genuinely give her work on Elektra an A+, but I give Marvel's inability to let her focus a single story for more than a few issues a D. That Gang War first mini was great, but what bearing does that have on the future? We got that terrific miniseries, which saw her versus the new Punisher. That new Punisher is sort of offensive to me in and of himself, so I don't care. But she made that character sing. I was so impressed, really, heir apparent to so many Marvel properties in my eyes. She's just so talented. And so then this issue comes in, and I don't want to be the worst person in the world, but I think I'm going to say something that for many people is really ugly. I can't think of a Daredevil villain I hate more than Muse. I hate Muse uniquely. I uniquely hate this character. Blind Spot for me
is that who was in Hell?
Yeah, that's the fucking weird eye guy.
Yeah, so that's we got to talk about that first.
That's the Charles Soule main villain from his run before it switches.
And you don't like that guy?
I fucking hate Muse. I hate
who
Muse
do you like?
so much.
That's also from that run?
I love Blind Spot, the good guy, and the previous run features my all-time favorite Daredevil villain, Karigi.
Say that last one again.
Karigi is from the Wade run,
the one who looks vaguely like Daredevil but uses okay.
Karigi's my favorite.
Was
no, this is Muse. This is I swear to God, he's I'm not trying to exaggerate, but there are times his powers seem Scarlet Witch level. He seems almost omnipotent at points, and he is so much smarter, so much faster, so much stronger, so much better than Daredevil at every turn. And in this run, because Charles Soule's run is actually masterful. I mean,
that's why I was kind of like, I knew that's what this was referencing. But I knew I was also missing stuff.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm going to cut in just for a second because I want you to keep going, but I want to get into this. Erica Schultz has and again, this is like a Steve Fox thing where like I don't want to. It's not the fault of the creative and the author who is doing cool stuff, but Marvel has commissioned essentially the same story from this poor person three times. And it gets worse if you factor in that I'm really convinced Marvel is like Elektra Nachos and Laura Kinney fight for supremacy, and whoever wins is going to be treated like Woman Wolverine. And it's wild to me. The thing to note about this book, Daredevil Unleash Hell, it was not released digitally today. Nico and I both buy digital. That's kind of how we plan everything. And we were lucky enough to know well in advance that DC was weird this week. And so we planned accordingly. We could talk about it. But I had to rush to tell Nico this morning that Daredevil was not a book we could buy on Amazon. Like you can't get this book digitally. We had to both plan to go to our comic shop and go get it, which we both love Daredevil and we both love Elektra. So we figured it out and we still did this book today. But there was a big chunk of today where I was like, I think maybe we're not doing this book because the only way you can get it is in stores, which is wild to me in the year of our Lord 2025, and does feel a little bit like Marvel's trying to figure out like, can we send them to comic shops? Like, is Daredevil the woman that they love the way people love Wolverine, where if we say the only way you can get it is to go to comic shops, they'll go? I don't know why else you do this today, but that's what happened, and we both went and did it, and I hope it works out in her favor because to me she is the Wolverine. I mean I think Laura is Wolverine. I would retire Logan. That's a whole other story, but Daredevil, Elektra to me is the woman. She's the one I want to see. If they're going to treat one woman like she gets Logan levels of respect from the company, I want it to be Elektra right now. And that's why I went out and got this book. And that's why I said, like, let's definitely focus on this and not cut it out because we have to go both figure out how to go get this book. But then it starts to play out like the other Elektra books that she has done. Erica Schultz is the Dashiell Hammett, the Raymond Chandler, the Frank Miller of her time. She writes hard-boiled street superhero the way the greats do.
Yep.
What used to happen back in the day was the greats were the only people writing one street level superhero that was Daredevil, and that was different from, even though Luke Cage was also a street level superhero, that was a blaxploitation book. Iron Fist was a kung fu book. Like, these pulp tropes, even though they were, now we all kind of see those characters as being lumped together as like they don't have mystic superpowers, they're not going into space and fighting Null. They're not X-Men going and collecting Mysterium from a fifth dimension. They're not going to the White Hot Room. They're literally trying to stop drug dealers on 26th Street and 6th Avenue, which you can like get to, and you can be like, oh, I'm like Elektra. So love that. It's a different story now. The way that we do this is a little bit different, and Erica Schultz has kind of been put into a groove that she can't get out of, that she's not asked to write out of, I should say. And she's been doing very well there. I've loved everything that she's done, but we're really in a street level Elektra. She kind of goes between Hell's Kitchen and Madripoor. Does she leave from Logan or from LaGuardia or JFK is what I always want to know.
I think she actually flies privately out of Teterboro.
Oh, huh. So how do you think she gets from Hell's Kitchen to Teterboro? Is that a car service?
You know what? I bet she's got an Uber pass.
Okay.
No,
right.
Lyft pass because she doesn't want to. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she's not gonna go with their. Yeah. So she's got the yeah. Okay. So she's doing that. And that's great. Which I always go to. Her name's either going to be Virginia NetJet or Bathroom at Teterboro Airport. One of the greatest 30 Rock jokes of all time. And then, okay, so this book is just kind of like, yet again, we're doing this street level heroine thing. And then suddenly the book is in hell. Suddenly it's like, again, I can't stress enough. This woman has just been writing between Hell's Kitchen and Madripoor since 2022, a bunch of stuff. And it's just like, I'm going to stop this drug dealer. I'm going to stop this Punisher. Oh no, it's Silvermane. And he is just like in Lowtown. And
Muse is painting at the Drink and Paint in hell.
In truly, literally hell. This is not like, I'm like, oh, it's so rough out there. No, it's actually where Satan lives. It's hell.
Hey guys, welcome to hell.
And love it. Okay, I'm not going to pass judgment. It's the first issue, and I do have interest. We kind of pass judgment on poor Mr. Steve Fox because we don't have interest in the concept. We're already on the concept of Elektra. I'm not going to pass judgment on issue 1 because we're already sold on the concept. If you haven't sold me on the concept, your issue 1 gets a different grade. The problem here is Daredevil has a huge relationship to hell that we're not done with. That hugely Matt Murdock being involved with hell is like what we're trying to. This is like the future of this character is
hell du jour.
He went to hell. Is God actually a part of this? Hell is up coming to him in the form of the 7 deadly sins, but also when we went to hell, it was the Beast and the Beast's sibling. The one place I probably would not have let Elektra go, or a book with Elektra in it, because she's not going, but like I just would not have brought hell in. I know it's called Unleash Hell, and I really didn't think that was going to be literal, because I just thought I'm an editor. If I'm an editor at Marvel and I get this pitch, I'm going, I love where your head is at. You can't go to hell because Matt is stuck there. Like, we don't know where Matt is in hell. I don't know how you let this book come to print.
I think it has to do with that sliding time scale that I was mentioning that DC operates on. I think Marvel is trying a little bit closer to get there and live in that world. I gave this issue an A-. I had a great time. I thought it was beautiful. But talk to me about what you're doing on the screen, and then also give me your grade. I love your grade. Grade it so hard.
I think you're right. I think you're right with A-. I maybe want to go BB+. Because of the shit that I was just saying. Like, again, this isn't an Erica Schultz thing. Such a fine writer. The lower grade is also going to be because the art
is not consistent throughout.
It's not right for this book. We did not give bad art or bad grades for the art for whatever the book was with Punisher.
Elektra.
And again, I'm gonna ding Marvel here.
Daredevil, Woman Without Fear.
Woman Without Fear, thank you. This should just be Daredevil.
Yeah.
And it should not be this Daredevil, Woman Without Fear, and then Unleash Hell, She should just get one book. It should just be written by Erica Schultz. Pay these people for ongoing. Stop doing minis. DC again, like they're killing it, saying like, hey, we're on issue 682 of Batman. 683 is a jump on point. And you're like nobody. And I know that there's this thing of like, oh, but through market research we have discovered that number ones are wildly successful. They're not. Like, be realistic here, guys. If everybody buys number one and then nobody buys number two, maybe you average it out and just everybody, like the people who are going to buy 689 buy it, and then 670 buy it. And if that number is small, maybe it's because people don't fucking read comics. And you guys should maybe publish manga, and if you're going to bitch about it, publish the thing that people are buying, or stop complaining and don't do little tricks. Doing little number ones and paying people shit and doing 5 issues, that just, we did a little trick, we got you to buy a little trick. It's not that's not a thing, and it hurt this book.
Golden Vote things.
I would have kept a consistent artist on this. This artist is not the right person for it. I feel really bad saying I hate shitting on creatives. I really like shitting on editorial and publishing. Sorry about it. Anyway, I do think B+ is about A- B+ is about where I'm at. I love Elektra so much. She is the Wolverine, except for Wolverine should be the Wolverine and Logan should be somewhere else. This Wolverine book isn't any good. There was a new one this week. Guys, come on. I don't care about gold. Are you fucking kidding me? What you're trying to sell me on is adamant. Gold is the new adamantium. Everybody's been getting laced with gold. Okay, next you're gonna be
Dell announced that it's actually adamantium max plus. And it's they've retired adamantium Inspiron and adamantium.
Next time they're
XPS.
really gonna be like, it's cocaine, like everything's laced with cocaine. Get into it. Wolverine's fucking going insane.
And the
Anyway,
best there is at what I do, and what I do is snort.
Yeah, fucking the healing factor for this nose up in here. I lucked out and got a beta invite to Marvel Mystic Mayhem, which is NetEase's new tactical RPG, so turn-based RPG, coming hot off of Rivals for everything except for not mobile, and NetEase completely tanking Super War, which was their MOBA. I don't really know what we're doing here. As I told Nico, if I had like planned this better, although Nico, this is what I realized. Everybody, you all signed up for the beta. And I know exactly when and where you did it.
I have no memory of this.
I know you don't. Because it was at the bar before we went to see Bob Fisher. We had a wild night at Bob the Drag Queen, everybody, and I truly forgot about this too until I got the beta invite. But yeah, we were sitting there at the bar when the announcement came out that this game was happening.
Oh, I'm sure I completed it perfectly.
Well, no, we were all sitting I remember exactly, because I was like, I know we talked about this. You were like, I have no idea what this game is. I was like, I know we talked about this. And you and I were sitting at the bar and I showed you it and you signed up immediately. And then Kevo and Jonah came in. And I think even Rich signed up for it because we were like, just get everybody signed up so that we can have exactly this moment. And everybody signed up. I apparently am the only one who got in. So here we are.
You're one of 8 people in Maine.
Yeah. Nightmare is the antagonist. And as a result, Sleepwalker, one of the lamer villains or lamer characters of Marvel happenings, is a major character. And I played the intro of this kind of accidentally because I opened it up to make sure it was gonna work for the show, and it immediately was like, no, we're playing the intro now, and it's just Nightmare being weird and being like, yeah, I'm fucking in it now, motherfucker. And you got Scarlet Witch, Hulk, and Moon Knight who are like, no, we're gonna stop you. So anyway, that is
the
where
time.
I started. I'm going to kind of go through the interface for a second and just see what they're giving us. The only real bummer I have for you guys is banger score for this. If we could put on Nico's ambient track, what did you call it? The one that you just sent 2 days ago.
Oh, Third Saturn?
Thank you. I knew it was a planet name, but it is very much on the vibe of what is going on with the soundtrack for this. As show contributor Jonah pointed out, it's also got a lot of Hades aesthetic to it, especially in the like characters pull onto screen and are just like, hey, here's the little thing that I'm saying. But you can also see there's a real anime vibe to this. I don't know, it looks interesting, but we're gonna break in right now and go to level 1 of the story and see what happens.
Well, it looks like everything else is locked as shit. So
yeah. So yeah, this is the beta. We don't know really much of anything about this game. And I don't have a ton to say other than here we go. Unfortunately, the one thing is the way we're playing this, I can't give you guys audio, but there is voice acting for this, and it is not bad.
well, we love that. We are I'm sorry, I'm raptured.
Yeah, no, me too.
It's one of the things I really like about the vibe of this is if it is a magical turn-based game, then it's going to have some, classic 2D pixel remaster kind of vibes. Yep. And that's something I would definitely appreciate from a game from Marvel. All right, so we've got some like tactics style movement. It looks like we've got some tactics space style movement. It looks like we're going with what is that? That's a hexagon, right?
Yeah, we're doing that, and so far I've played so little, so like we're learning together. But like all I have seen of the little intro that I have played has not required so much that they be hexagons. It has just been area versus area. But I do think this is going to ultimately be very important.
Yeah, especially if space and movement is going to start to matter and bordering adjacent spaces.
Yep.
I appreciate Sleepwalker giving the most literal, like, this is what you need to know conversation he's ever given in the history of the character. I love seeing the HP bars on the villains in the distance. That's always something I really appreciate. I love seeing a good visual HP bar for a random encounter. How do you feel about these redesigns? Because like I really appreciate the Misty Knight, but this let's go with Nosferatu Hulk is. I mean,
Misty Knight starts to border on offensive to me. / like I only care what black people think about this, but Misty Knight always shows up with an afro that is like, how much can we assure you we know this is a black woman? And if black women and black men feel like, yeah, this is one of us, this is great to have her here, I love that. But sometimes it really does feel like the bigger the afro, the less we have to have a second black woman.
That's a great point.
So I love Misty Knight. Please keep the afro big. That would make me very happy. But you could have literally any other black woman in the mix just to say that it's not just one. Like if Zoe Laveau from Strange Academy were here. I just don't know what we're doing. This Hulk, Nosferatu Hulk, I love where you're going with that. The only reason, again, I'm okay with this is because I'm going to deploy him just so it stops moving. Where NetEase is already submitting insane redesigns to us. So because NetEase is also doing Rivals. So this is fine for me insofar as like for main gameplay, he's a tiny little dude. We'll see how this all kind of ends up.
Well, and one of the things I love is that the design kind of borrows from miniatures.
Yep.
This looks like it's trying to borrow a little bit from the HeroClix generation. Okay, so it's programmed.
There's autoplay. I'm not doing anything right now, and now I'm building up mana so that so now I'm going to have
did you put it on autoplay or did it auto?
No, it started on autoplay. Now awesome. I clicked buff, so I'm going to have Sleepwalker buff Hulk. Now Hulk's stuff has gone up. And I'm going to have Misty Knight attack one of these dudes. Yeah, I mean, now Hulk has an ultimate move, and that's a heal, so I am going to have him heal himself, I guess. Okay. So this is fascinating. I did not realize this was... Because even from the intro gameplay, I did not get that this was an autoplay game.
Is the whole game autoplay, do you think?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think it is. You immediately go into battle, and you start to build up mana. So now I'm having Misty Knight debuff one of the... now everybody... I built up so much mana, I have a ton of ultimate attack. So I'm going to have Misty Knight ultimate attack right now. That's actually pretty gorgeous art.
Yeah, that's really stunning. And I love the...
I'm also going to have Sleepwalker ultimate attack. This is all just to kind of see. I'm not really even playing, but... yep, really cool, really gorgeous. This is a character I've always thought was very cool, so I think that's great. Fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I get this as sort of a response to like team fight tactics. This is pretty fascinating to me because it's NetEase, who, again, as I mentioned, had a Marvel MOBA, which, League of Legends being the most infamous MOBA. I'm sort of shocked that they shut down Marvel Super Fight right before launching a competitor for Overwatch, and then immediately announcing a turn-based game that sort of now... I didn't realize this at the time. I thought this was just going to be... I sort of thought this was going to be Mobile Midnight Suns. This is kind of more team fight tactics, which is an offshoot of what did I just say?
League of Legends.
Thank you. Which is an offshoot of League of Legends, which NetEase had a game for that they canceled. So I'm really fascinated about the space that we're in. We're going to keep going with this. Got some cute little rewards.
So you're going to get multiple rewards from battles, which is always fun. It's like, except with Rivals, where now I have so many units I can't keep track of.
None of which you guys gotta, if you want me to care, you gotta tell me what they're actually worth and give me something to spend them on. As I said on Blue Sky today, I will not be spending money on this battle pass either because it's not for me. Sort of wild because it's not for Nico either because it's not for Vanguards. And Nico plays a little bit more damage character than I play because he likes Logan, he likes Iron Fist, but he plays primarily Vanguard, and the damages that he plays are thicker. They're not for snipey attacks. Anyway, y'all are really focused on giving value for these battle passes for damage players, which I get because, again, that's the thing that I was saying when they were announcing all of these damage characters. That's mostly who's playing. I get it. 100% that's who you want to generate hype for. If you go to a certain point, you're not going to get my money, and I'm going to tell my friend also not to spend money on it. It's not for us. Like, you're doing another Rocket skin after Rocket got a skin, got a holiday skin. These are all great. I love that Rocket has that, but like Luna has had so little. Cloak and Dagger have literally had one that came when they were announced, and it's Growth and Decay, and it's stupid, but they got nothing for Winter. They're getting nothing in this new battle pass.
Poor Clork and Dodger.
It's a bummer that Cap isn't getting anything, that Logan isn't getting anything.
And don't get me wrong, Logan looks like a super hot B-boy who's about to hang and be part of the Fly Guy.
Actually, legit, I do love his standard skin, and you just nailed the description. It's really funny, but like, put that much hilarious effort into a skin for season pass number 1.
Right.
I know Thor is another one that you play who got nothing. What am I doing here? Okay, hold on. Okay. There we go. We're going in around it.
So now you have not been given the opportunity to draft new characters yet, so you're fighting with Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, and Sleepwalker against this adorable Oh no, I'm sorry. You've got Misty Knight and Hulk. Right.
Yep. So some monsters will use their skills periodically. Be careful. Yeah, I mean, this enemy's going to use a skill. Okay, I mean they're really. Yeah, they're teaching us everything here. I figured the enemies would use skills. Long press any character on the field to view their info. So let's heals an ally and itself. Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny. This is all very standard, and that's great. So we're gonna start. They're going for it. Misty is immediately ready to go, so I'm going to try and have her attack the guy who's healing people. Great. And yeah, now all my people are attacking. I'm going to have Hulk. Yeah, I mean, I love an autoplay like this. Honestly, this is going to be a lot of fun for people. It's fun for me and just kind of tooling around with you guys, but this is a really different strategy than a lot of Marvel games right now. I am extremely surprised we went in this direction. Yeah, Hulk is debuffing people, so he's going to do that. There you go.
I really do love a good autoplay game. It's one of the things that I love about Contest of Champions is that when it's time to play Contest of Champions, very often I can put my game on autoplay and just have a good time and just like either watch it play or do my job at work and occasionally look at the screen and know that I'm, earning all the good stuff that I want to earn in the game without making it a huge thing. An autoplay like this, it does, require a little bit more attention, but I do like the ability to not have to be on fire on the game the entire time.
I also think it is specifically trying to get your attention right now so you understand how to play.
Yeah.
I think once we get through a lot of this, I think probably for the beta, this will not be the case, but when the game comes out, I think once you graduate to a specific level, you are going to really be able to autoplay similarly to how you do in Contest of Champions, which is really, Contest of Champions at a certain point, you set things up and you literally can walk away from the game for a little bit.
Okay, so I do all the time.
We're returning to the Sanctum, clicking on our heroes. Apparently okay, so yeah, we're leveling up here. I love when a game does this kind of tutorial. Very cute. It's teaching us everything we need to know.
And I think it makes a huge difference because, I don't necessarily believe that everybody is, this is somebody's, I'm saying that a little bit wrong. I do think this is inevitably going to be somebody's first game.
Yeah, yes, and games are kind of different than comics. Every game is somebody's first game of that genre, to the point where if you're going to get really specific to the genre, you have to tell them what the things are. Like if you've never played kind of an autoplay tactics game like this, you don't necessarily know that you really need to go level all your characters up to where they need to be to go into the next fight.
Right. Because it's designed to play through like that.
Right. And so like comics, we all say like, you don't really need to write every issue like it's everybody's first. If you're writing something Hickmanian and really high concept where you're like, okay, I have to explain what we're doing here, sure, whatever.
Right.
If you are just writing Uncanny 650, you can just go ahead and write it. You don't need to be like, this is Cyclops with the mutant power of we don't need that. But games, you really need to know. And so like, yeah, I know these games. I probably would not have needed to level up my characters to keep going, but I also don't mind that the game is telling me to.
Right.
We're going into to Tame Chaos.
And just like while this is up, I want to say that one of the reasons I thought it was okay to switch into this a little bit is because Magik had a lot of really cool vibes where I thought she would have been one of your starting characters.
Yeah, I kind of wish she was one of my starting characters, to be 100% honest.
The issue was fun. I liked the grandma. She was really fun. But it suffers from a little bit of what I kind of consider like Marvel rote syndrome. It just felt like the same kind of Magic ladies are cool style of title. And I love that we're getting this version of it, but I wish editorial or comic buyers in general, maybe because that's what they're responding to, we're pushing the envelope a little bit further for these writers to explore the greatness of their ideas without it seeming like the idea has 10 pages that didn't make it to script.
I think for me, this particular writer is somebody that we have talked about on the show before because she wrote a Blood Hunt issue that I believe was really her first for Big Two Comics.
Yeah.
And at the time we kind of really wanted to give her some props for making it, for doing that thing that we all kind of want to do, and getting to write for Big Two Comics. And I love that. And I'm super stoked for this person. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what's happening here.
I think what's happening is they're all trying to settle Catan at once.
Nico nailed it. It sort of does feel like that is exactly what's happening. I think I lost. Maybe Misty Knight got killed, but we're gonna find out in a second. Yeah, I do believe that is what happened, which is kind of understandable. Who are we healing? No, we're not doing that. Hold on, we're gonna debuff these guys. So this is a writer that I was pretty excited about. It is exciting to see somebody who's like, I don't want to say our contemporary. This is not somebody I know, but like, this is somebody who's probably younger than we are, who probably has aspirations and goals similar to ours. And who got her first X-Men book earlier this year in Blood Hunt and did a great job. Like, she clearly got Magik. And it was great to read. It was really great to see. I think she nailed it here in terms of like, I'm looking at her and Alyssa Wong as being two people who really got the assignment that they were given to write their character. I feel a little bit bad that they're doing it in this era because it's difficult to write when nobody else, when you kind of don't have the backing of the rest of the situation that you're writing in. This is something that's happening to Alyssa Wong in Psylocke. Like, Psylocke is also in
Uncanny?
Jed McKay's X-Men. Jed McKay's X-Men. And it's not that it doesn't feel like the same character. It just feels like Alyssa Wong is writing Psylocke like she's the main character, and then you get this book with this guy who has been given so many characters. I mean, it's impossible. So either there's too many people with main character syndrome, or it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Nobody feels really important. There is so much going on with Magneto possibly having a sickness, with also like Juggernaut is Avatar Sidorak, so he's about to have something else going on, which we also need to return to at some point soon. We're talking about Spider-Man there. And so we have this cool Magik book, but she literally has to walk away from Jed McKay's X-Men in the same way that Psylocke has to walk away from Jed McKay's X-Men And it just feels like, again, if I'm an editor, I'm starting to think to myself, like, am I telling everybody to look away from my flagship book in order to get this story? And what does that mean? I don't quite know, but that is the thing that really didn't work for me here. The book starts and she's like, oh yeah, I'm Magik. And it's that lacking of yes and thing. Magik walks into the room and everybody goes, it's a party, and Magik goes, no, it's fucking not, I'm leaving. And then an issue starts, which I love the issue that started,
right,
but the issue actually started 5 pages earlier when Magik shows up and says no to everybody trying to yes and her, and I don't quite know what to do with that. It's not the writer's fault, because she was clearly trying to write the story of Magik once she gets to that funeral home. Right. Also, there's not a single Markowitz in Juneau, Alaska. I'm sorry, but let's be real here. I'm an editor. I'm telling you, you got to change that name. It does feel a little bit like she was forced to put in the participation with the X-Men, because otherwise what are we doing here? And then that gets it really constantly. I'm reminded with these books, like even the great ones, I am constantly like, okay, but what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think the only thing I really got from this is I think the first attempt I've seen to make a Magik book that is timeless.
Yeah, but it's not. It's immediately not timeless because it is immediately tied into the time that we got off Krakoa and nobody knew what to do. But this will never be timeless because we're always stuck in this stupid Merle, Alaska base.
I think, though, the Ileana is timeless.
Yes, 100%.
And I think that's really all we can hope for from it. It just really isn't... it was a strong first issue, but I don't know that it was a strong series pitch. But I had a good time. I gave it a B. And I'm excited. I'll see where it goes. But, obviously, like I said, I'm not going too crazy. And, I would love to know your score for the title and a little about what's going on the screen before we wind down.
I guess I got a training session. We're about to long press for details here. Moves, swinging kick, moves to an enemy, dealing physical. So, dash. Okay, so we're gonna dash to this guy, and that gives us that. Sure. I don't know, man. My grade for this book is a B+, I think. I really did think it was solid. I'm not trying to be anybody's friend here by saying, like, I don't blame the creatives, I blame editorial.
Because you're not making friends with editorial, that's for sure.
Sure, yeah, those are the people that I actually would like to pay me to do this work, so... But I do really blame editorial. Again, like I get this issue, I get the script, and I look at it and I have to read it and think to myself, no, we put our main character in a situation where she walks into a room with people constantly trying to yes her, and she just keeps going no, and then the issue can only start when she leaves the area. To me, that's a problem. It's all great interaction. I love the idea that Magik doesn't want to celebrate her birthday, but there's pathos and character work happening here, and the only way the issue can start is for her literally to abruptly walk away from people, like literally mid-sentence, going like, hey, we love you, and she just goes, no, you fucking don't, and leaves. I know that there's a part of you that says like, oh, but that's how Magik is, she's nasty. And sure, but I think you've maybe missed the point of writing improv, like 8 different things. If you read that and you go, okay, we're good to go here. That's where I read it and go, no, we have to rework this. And maybe I give you these 5 pages as a piece. Like this is a B story in Jed McKay's that says, hey, pick up Magik to see where this goes from here. but it's not a good place to start this. So that's the only reason it's kind of a B plus rather than the A that it should be, because I think the main once she does exit the Alaska base and goes to the funeral home, I think it's mostly an A story. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
If it gets lower grades from there, it is because I don't trust Marvel to do something with this. And then at the very, very end, like what would be like a 95, 96 grade maybe drops to a 93, because at the very end, there's just like this thing where they get like a concert poster of Magik being Darkchild, and somebody's like, "Oh, I knew it." I don't know what's happening there.
I wasn't sure if it was a concert poster or a tarot card or what.
Yeah, it did have tarot card vibes. Super cool. Art looked really good, but again, if I'm an editor, I don't know how you pick up that issue and read it and think like this works. Like there's a thing happened there where I'm just like, no, we have to do something slightly different right here in these like last 2 pages. And again, I don't really know how you don't see that. So yeah, but otherwise, I mean, it was lovely.
Yeah, and I also want to say, lovely was watching you play Marvel Mystic Manor. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to get in and play it a little bit. It looks like it might not hold my attention the same way MCOC does, but like, you know, I have found no mobile game does, and it might just be because that's the one I attach to. But you know.
Oh wait, is this Mr. Negative?
It looks like it might be.
I ultimately, Nico, I do think this will hold your attention. I just think this is an awkward entry point and way to start. But I think this will literally exactly be the thing that holds your attention.
I love that. So I give all those books those scores, but I give you playing an A+ because you're the best. And thanks for bringing this to us and getting it on the game and making it the show movie plays time. And as I slowly devolve into a Caesar word salad, I would love to get our producer on here and talk a little bit about the stuff we're going to be talking about soon. I think Friday we're going to try and get in a Rivals stream to celebrate season 1, and I think we're debating Saturday having a Traders stream.
I hope we're not debating. I hope we're just straight up doing it.
And then Sunday we're doing a drag stream. Kevo. Oh my gosh.
Well, we have, working backwards from that, Sunday we will have part 2 of the season 17 premiere, and then I think next week or something we're going to have the finale of Canada in a week or 2.
Yeah.
I do believe it is next week.
That's exciting, so keep an eye out for that. Star Wars ends next week, too. Skeleton Crew, the finale next Tuesday.
Which I would be super down to talk about for the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll be in the future. In the more immediate, we're super stoked to talk about Traders. We have the premiere of Horse Cooks in America with Trinity the Tuck. We're not going to be covering that with any regularity as much as we will Traders, which we loved and love discussing. But I'm sure Nico and I are going to jump in every now and then because it's just drag queens all over reality television right now, which is exactly what we need in this country. I like the art on this.
Isn't it gorgeous?
I like the way it's like a living comic book.
Yeah. And like I said, there is really good voice acting.
Nice.
The thing I keep really waiting for from all of these Marvel games is Grey Delisle, voice of Azula, and like well-known voice actor who does this work. I'm waiting for them to get kind of like some more known people, because it was one of the things that really made Overwatch culture a big thing, was that the voice actors became kind of a deal in and of themselves. And frankly, a lot of those voice actors are doing Rivals and are in the mix. And I'm just sort of waiting to see if that becomes a thing with Rivals. But again, this is another, like, unfortunately, just because of what we have for streaming capabilities, I wasn't able to bring in the sound for this. But fantastic soundtrack, really. It's very Kavinsky, Night Call, vaporwave soundtrack, and then really good voice acting too. Like the voice acting is constantly accompanied by the standard comic word bubbles, but people are speaking the whole time, and it sounds very good. And these are all things I was very surprised that they had this down this early in the process.
It looks great. I love it. I'm super excited. And until we come back to play and show and do more, Kevo, where can everybody find you?
You can find me over on the socials at Kevo Rayleigh. That's KevoReally.
Okay, if they want to find out all about you playing this awesome game, Rivals, and way more, where can everybody find you on the interwebs?
You can find me right now just basically at Blue Sky at TK Elemental, although I think this is like maybe the last episode where it's that, because I finally got all my other stuff up to date, and I will be changing to the identity that I've wanted this whole time, but I couldn't have, first and foremost because Twitter was a problem, and now we're off Twitter. And unfortunately, as of today, it seems like I'm probably moving off of Instagram and off of Meta products because Mark Zuckerberg is very evil. So it's looking like primarily going to be Blue Sky, and then I think maybe take a return to TikTok. But for now, it's going to be TK Elemental, and maybe on Friday I will announce my final form. But Nico Action Music, Nico Action, the man, the myth, the machine. Where can they find you?
Those places.
Yeah.
NICOACTION, NICOACTIONMUSIC. If you guys want to find out more about this amazing channel and these amazing dudes, that's HTML, Husbands Talking More or Less, X is for Podcast, X is for Show, and more. You guys can check us out all over the socials. Do us a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. We love it when you guys do that for us. But 3 things you guys can do for yourselves. Number 1, guys, stay safe. It's cold as shit outside.
It's freezing.
2, it's too fucking cold. No patience. Number 2, be brave because we love who you are. But number 3, evolve daily because who you were yesterday, incredible. Who you are today, amazing. But who you are tomorrow, that's the dream. And we can't wait to see you. So until then, thanks so much. Stay true, north, strong, fierce, and United Airlines. Thanks for flying with us, and we'll see you.